Hello, friends, and all of you in the silent majority. Welcome back to another edition of the Normal Procedure Podcast. You know me. I am your dear friend, C. Wells, and we are going to be getting into a multitude of topics today, as we usually do. Today, I am going to pick up where I left off on the last program, the last show, the last podcast, the last whatever the fuck you want to call it. The thing that I am currently doing, that you are currently listening to, and if you're watching, you seeing me fidget with some things on my desk. I am a bit obsessive compulsive. I have a notepad, 2 sticky notes, and 1 large sticky note with a pin directly to the left, perfectly center. I'm going to be picking up where I left off, talking about this groupthink mentality, because I find that extremely interesting. And of course, I made a pledge to continue to talk about relationships within the black community, or relationships in general. I believe that's interesting. I believe we have a lot more that we could be doing to understand each other better, especially within, like I said, the silent majority, because there's going to be extremes on both ends of the spectrum. There's going to be people that live a life that most of us dream of on yachts and fucking private planes and stuff. And they do things that we just don't do on our day-to-day lives on a day-to-day basis. And there's also going to be people that are struggling and lost. That's unfortunate. And I think both ends are unfortunate, because either if you living in abundance and or you're living just barely scraping by, those two sides, I don't think will ever understand one another. I think there should be a voice for them as well. I can't speak to that. Like, I can speak to how it used to be growing up and being extremely poor and knowing how it feels to just scrape by. And especially when it comes to like trying to date or try to find a significant other, just fucking forget about it. Forget about it. You might as well just get your fucking life together. And sometimes that's a hard pill to swallow, especially if you're talking to a man. Like, if it's a young man, maybe you have some hope there. Maybe that young man's going to listen to you, and they're going to realize that they're on a path to nowhere. But if it's an older man that's still living in that sort of situation, you have a harder time breaking through to that individual. They're comfortable living just below, the poverty line, or tiptoeing on the poverty line. They're okay with that. They have their vices or their routine, and they're comfortable, they're nice. That's a hard battle to win. But with the younger men, you probably can get there. But as far as the other end of the spectrum, I can't speak to that. I can't speak to the uber wealthy. I can't speak to the 1% or the 0.1% of people that live these lives. I mean, we've learned anything from the Johnny Depp Amber Heard trial, those motherfuckers are fucked up too. They just do it in fantastic locations, Instead of beating each other ass in, a studio apartment, they beating each other ass in a 16-bedroom mansion. Instead of getting drunk in a sleazy motel where it's questionable fluids on the bed, they're getting drunk on a private island or a private jet or some shit. So I think their lives aren't that much better. It's just they're delusional. They're delusion, and I want to say detached from normality. They don't even know what normal life is anymore. Especially if people that's been famous forever, you can't speak to those. So I try to focus on the middle. And I believe I could speak for, upper middle class all the way down to people that are lower middle class and just in the poverty, getting out of poverty. That's the majority of us. That is where most of us seem to be. Even when it comes to the political spectrum, there's polarization on both sides, whether you fall on the right or the left. But most of us really are neither of those sides. We're like right in the middle. And we might fall one way according to one policy and another way according to another policy of what's going on. So that is what I am trying to speak to. Do the things, do all of the fucking things. Eventually, I'm not going to have to explain that anymore, and you will automatically know who I am speaking to when I say some of the things that I say. Now, on to groupthink. I'm not going to spend too much time on this because I believe it's a silly thing. It's very silly in 2022 for this still to be a thing, but it is still a thing. And what am I talking about? Well, I'm talking about tech shaming. People that tech shame you. The low end of tech shaming is, oh, you don't have this game? Well, I have this game. You don't have the PlayStation 5 yet? You still have the 4? You still have the 3? Why are you asking me this question? Why are you trying to tech shame me, bro? What the fuck? What if I'm fine with where I am? What if I don't want 2K22? What if 2K20 or 2K19 or 2K18? What if that was just like, that's my jam, I'm good there. The graphics are, I mean, the gameplay and the graphics, they're pretty much the same every year. Every year you're just going to get minor tweaks. But people want to tech shame you into getting the hottest new thing. Don't get me wrong, that used to be me in my 20s. Back when technology was evolving extremely fast, and you had to get the newest thing if you want to be on top of, I guess it wasn't as much as what field you're in. It's just you want to feel like you're moving quickly, especially when it comes to networks, bandwidth, internet speed, all that stuff. So you had to get the new thing because the old thing would time out so very quickly and it would just slow down. So you had to get to the new thing, but pretty much everything now is going to operate at some absurd level. Almost everything you get. You can go to the local phone store, drop $300 on a regular old phone, and it's going to have an absurd camera, insane memory. The computer, it's a computer. It's a supercomputer. All of them now are supercomputers. But you have to have the right supercomputer. You have to have the supercomputer with the little logo on it, with a bitten off apple. And that's the high end of tech shaming. People are still tech shaming you over what type of phone you have. It used to be a status symbol. I think it still is a status symbol. What type of phone you have is a status symbol. Why? Why does this fucking matter? It does the things I need it to do. I don't need it to fucking send me off into space. I'm old school in that way. I use it for a handful of things. I use it to text, call, watch YouTube. That's it. I don't need it to tell me my motherfucking blood pressure. I don't need it to tell me how well I slept that night. I don't need it to fucking blur off the background so that I am the only thing that you are focused on. I've seen a lot of that. That's just starting to look really weird. It's starting to look very strange where people are blurring out their backgrounds. I'm just going to start questioning these motherfuckers like, what is so important behind you that you have to blur it out? Or what is so questionable behind you that you have to blur it out? You're hiding something. I don't need my phone to hide my background from the masses. I don't have anything to hide. It's just a wall. It's a wall. What are you going to see on that wall? Or is that wall just such a distraction to you that you need to be focused on me? Fucking tech shaming. And the crazy part about it is, especially when it comes to phones, and especially with it being a status symbol, it's crept into people's minds that if you don't have it, you're not in with the in crowd. This whole groupthink thing. I call them sheeple. They are sheeple. Go along to get along. I want the good new thing. I want the fancy new thing. I got to be in with the in crowd. Got to make my screen blurry behind me or else people are going to make fun of me. I can't have that green text bubble. Android. You're still using an Android? And yeah, I'm kind of picking on my little sister here. They always make fun of me because I have an Android. Quite frankly, I don't give a fuck. I mean, let's just take the brand and the social status out of the whole equation here. What's that much better? For the things that an average person, a normal person, Remember, that's who I speak for. What's that much better that you would have to have an iPhone that your ordinary run-of-the-mill Android phone can't do? Just for everyday average phone users. What's so much better? Can you get the same fundamental apps? Can you still send the same SMS messages, video messages? If the quality is an issue when it transfers from one device to another, there's apps that you can download for that. So if the quality isn't really that bad, it doesn't look that grainy on the other end, because I've seen that before. I know that that's a thing. iPhone, you just like to say. But how much media are you really exchanging with someone? Like video media. I think pictures are pretty much the standard quality no matter who you send them from. And also, I think that's a strategy. Excuse the conspiracy theorist in me right now, but I think that's a strategy by diminishing the quality of the video sent from an Android to an Apple will make, and I think that's purposeful. Like I said, this is a conspiracy theory, but I think that's purposeful so that the Apple user will respond and be like, oh, you must be sending me a video message from a shitty ass Android. Well, how come when I send it from Android to Android, it's fine? I have a high quality camera, full HD, 1080p, or whatever the fuck it's called, but it's full HD camera. How come when it goes into this network and communicates with this specific brand of device, it's diminished? I call bullshit. And I will not be shamed into getting your fucking whatever the fuck. I will not be shamed into getting your product. You cannot shame me. And all these people who say they have a problem with monopolies want to create one. That's the crazy part. You have a problem with things being overbearing as far as companies that have too large of a stake in our society, like a Walmart, like an Amazon, just kicking all the mom and pop stores out, treating employees badly, but you have no problem with there being a tech democracy or a techocracy or techopoly. Techopoly? It's a monopoly and it's tech. So techopoly? You have no problem with that. You want it to be all Apple, all your products has to be an Apple. Go fuck yourself. I'm not going to fall for that. I'm not going to do it. And I'll tell you something else I'm not going to fall for. This is some lemonade I'm drinking out of my favorite chalice. Let's go, Pats. Let's go. So, something else I'm not going to fall for. And this goes into lines with what I want this entire podcast to be about today. I'm not going to fall for the notion that my opinion don't matter. I'm not going to fall for that. I'm not going to fall into the trap to where just because I was born with certain genitalia, I shouldn't talk about certain things. I'm not going to fall for that, because that is the problem. No one wants to listen based on how you were born, what you identify as. I'm a black male. Fuck it. Let's just say I'm a male. So what can I not talk about? I'm a straight male at that. So what can I not talk about? Straight off the rip, women. Can't talk about women. And under that is, black women comes first because I'm black. But then all women. And then right under that is LGBTQIA+. So basically, the only thing I'm allowed to talk about as a man is other men. And I do that. I do that a lot. But I can't talk about women. Why not? They talk about us a lot. Talk about the bad things a bunch. So I can't talk about them? Why not? I would love to hear why not. I would love that. Because it is one of the oldest double standards that there is. Women can complain about men all day in public. All day. blast it on social media, on your fucking Instagrams and your Twitters, sharing memes, create whole fucking TikToks and YouTube videos about men. But the moment that criticism or even noticing things is said from a man's perspective, nope, can't do that. Who told you could do that? Shut the fuck up. You have a dick and balls. We don't need your opinion, Mr. Dick and Balls. What if I identify as a woman. Now let's talk. I know I said about 60 seconds ago, I'm a man, I'm a black man. Changed my mind. I am now an Indian woman. That is how I identify. My name is Singh. Or Sit. That's how I identify. Is that racist? Don't know. But you could do that then, especially with a certain demographic of people, those uber woke people. I could literally, within the same conversation, say that I am now a woman, and now I can have these same opinions about women. It's so strange. It's very unusual. And the reason I bring this up is because I wanted to talk about how masculinity is demonized. Now, I've talked about this to exhaustion on my podcast. I've talked about it so many times, but I've taken up responsibility to continue to talk about it more because people get confused about this thing and think that, they can't do what I'm doing. They can't say what I'm saying. I have a small enough platform I can fly under the radar. That shouldn't be the case. I think everyone should be able to say whatever the fuck they want to say. And the thing is, we have reached a point to where you can't tell women anything. And we're pushed into a corner where we either have to walk on eggshells, do great compromise, don't say anything, go along to get along. That's where we are. That is where we are. Like, okay. When was the last time that without it being an argument, without it being a response to something else, when was the last time that you saw a man straight up say a woman is fat to her face and tell her lovingly that maybe you should take better care of your health? When was the last time you saw that? And I'm not talking about an argument. I'm just talking about, it could be two friends. And you tell your friend, hey sis, getting kind of big there. You sure you need extra whipped cream, sis? Sis, I've been noticing you breathing real heavy. It's only 3 steps, sis. You okay? You got a new wardrobe already? You outgrew the other stuff? I think you're getting kind of heavy, sis. You might want to, go on a few walks. And that's another thing. That kind of bleeds into this next thing. We've changed what beauty standards are. Beauty standards aren't the same thing that they used to be. And I'm not saying that there's a European beauty model, there's a black beauty model, whatever the fuck. Of course, there's going to be unrealistic standards on both sides. What I'm talking about is just, like I said, normal people, normal looking people, average people, people that, at least take care of themselves the best that they can, who don't walk outside. Like, think about it like this. You never see yourself, if you live a normal life, you try your best to not walk outside dress like a dick or bummy or nasty, and you try your best not to walk outside smelling disgusting, or looking disgusting. You try to present yourself when you leave your door and you're entering society. You try that. We don't do that thing with health anymore. You could just walk outside sloppy, wobbling, breathing heavy, tipping over the whole damn car when you get in that motherfucker. We could just do that because the standard has changed. Now unhealthy is sexy. Now you could just wear a two-piece, just straight up looking like a roadmap. It's terrible. I don't think anyone should do that. Men either. But men have been hearing this forever. That's what I'm saying. Men have been hearing this forever. You're the fat guy. You're the funny guy. You're the goofy, jolly guy. No one takes you seriously, you fat motherfucker. You're like, that's it. And we tried to make fat cool too, especially in the black community. We tried to make fat cool. Like, women would post pictures and memes about they want their man with a pot belly and all this shit. Realistically, if he's wearing some nice clothes and drives a nice car, women will overlook that stuff. Certain type of women. But if you're watching a movie with her and Jason, whatever his name is, Jordan, what is his name? Michael B. Jordan, he takes his shirt off, you best believe she's going to be like, damn, that is just objectively attractive, you know? And I'm into MMA, so I can name a million MMA fighters. They walk into a room, take their shirt off. Fucking Yoel Romero walk into the room with your fat, sloppy looking ass. He instantly makes you look like a woman. Not even like less of a man. You instantly become another gender when Yoel Romero walks into the room. It's carved out of fucking marble. You sad fuck. But I talk about sad fucks of men all the time. How come I can't talk about these sad fucks of women? It's like, please, don't take what I'm saying as meant to be cruel. These are things that used to be facts. It used to be facts that if you were a larger person, not just woman, you were a larger person, it's going to be detrimental to your health, first and foremost, and it's also going to be detrimental to your dating life because you're in a niche category now. And depending on how big you are, you're borderline fetish category. That used to be a fact. I believe it still is the fact, but people are scared to talk. That's why I am the voice of the silent majority. We have to talk. We have to tell people, look, I know it's hard. I know food is delicious. Food is great. I love food. But how much of it? How much of it should we be eating? Should we be eating all of it? Or maybe just, some moderate portions? Practice some self-control? Maybe a little bit? We need to start having these conversations. Because on what I'm talking about now specifically, it's harming outcomes as far as people getting together and understanding each other, right? So, black community is extremely unhealthy. I don't think that's breaking news by any means. You're not going to hear a breaking news soundtrack behind that fucking statement that the black community is fairly unhealthy when it comes to weight and obesity. That's a giant part of the disconnect. Because, like I said, as a man, you can't say anything. You can't say anything. But if I were to ask most men, what's the biggest problem besides attitudes and single motherhood? Just take all of that. Take life choices, character traits, take all of that out of it. Habits, take all of that out of it. Just aesthetics. What is the aesthetic of a black woman? What do you think, from not being absolute, just generalizations? Name the top 5 things that you believe the aesthetic of a black woman is kind of turning you off. And I'm not, like I said, I don't talk for the street dudes either. I don't talk for them because they'll fuck anything with 2 legs and a heartbeat. I don't talk for them. I talk about normal, masculine, respectful, competent, hardworking black men. The rest of those dudes can go, eat a dick, kick a rock, kick it on down the road, bump it off. But for the rest of us, what would we say? The people that I know, my friends, what would they say? Well, they would say, First off, they're a little too big. Most women have the aesthetic of wanting to be thick. You know, small waist, big, wide hips, gigantic ass. A lot of women want that aesthetic, and a lot of women do end up getting that aesthetic, whether it be through surgery or waist training and all that. But once again, that is a tiny number. That's not 100%. I don't even think it's 50. Fuck, I don't even think it's 40. I want to say for black women, that aesthetic is for about 30 to 35%. And then you have the really thin women, you know, the average framed women. Of course, you have to make up for some anomalies where people have medical conditions. But there's no secret that most of them are big. So I believe that would be number one. But as a man, you cannot say that. But that's where accountability and self-awareness should take hold. Because I've mentioned the other things, of course, the nails. I don't know how many people will agree with that, will agree with me on that outwardly, but it's getting too much here. I will never let that go. It should not be a thing. You are looking at them. Your girlfriends are looking at them. That's who you get those nails for. You go and get those nails for Tisha down the road so she can compliment you on your nails. Okay, then go fuck Tisha. Go fuck Tisha down the road. Guys don't like that shit. We don't like it. It's extra. And I don't mean extra in the way that you guys use it. I mean it's extra. I mean it's added on. Your regular nails are fine. And if you can't grow your regular nails, have them at least to a respectable length. As my guy Kevin Samuels once said, rest in peace, because that's why I'm doing this work. Because my podcast is usually about a variety of things, but this is a subject matter that I'm going to tackle. But he called them raptor claws. And that's what the motherfuckers are. They're talons. Why do you have talons attached to your fucking fingertips? Why? It makes everything inconvenient. You can't even text like a normal person with two thumbs anymore. They have to create a whole new way of texting for you with the whole swipe thing. They made that for them fucking talons. Fuck. Get normal nails again. And learn to take criticism. It's not a bad thing. Especially if it's coming from a place that's going to benefit you in the long run. It's going to benefit everyone to lose weight. Everyone. Me, you. I mean, unless to be a healthy weight, not just lose weight. It's going to benefit everyone to be a healthy weight. But there's certain people you can't tell anything to. There's certain people you just cannot speak to. Because, and like I said, in the black community, women don't want to be told anything from us because we have genitals. And no one else is going to say it. So the men just sit back, right? So we're not going to say anything. They don't want to hear it from us. The women aren't going to tell the women because it's you go, girl, go ahead, sis, yes, queen. So there's no progress. So what do? You just fucking give up. You walk away. Because you just can't tell certain women certain things. You can't tell them. Like, there's this concept of uber masculinity being a bad thing and traditional gender roles being a bad thing, right? Now, I'm not saying that anyone should be in any sort of situation to where they feel uncomfortable. People vary. We are nuanced. A man shouldn't be an over-controlling dick. It should be suggestive. It should be cooperative. So I think that's one side of the coin. But the other side of the coin, women should also be understanding, cooperative as well, and learn to take, learn to follow the man's lead. But that's not happening. No. That's not happening. That's why they don't want to listen. They don't want anyone. They don't want anyone leading them because they've been told that they don't need anyone leading them. They want to lead each other away from us. They want to lead each other away from us and then go on social media and talk about how we ain't shit. What the fuck are you talking about? I'm right here. I'm literally right here. I could name hundreds, if not thousands, of occasions where I've seen a dude who was a well-to-do dude, decent looking guy, had a job, and was just looked over by most women. I will say most. So they hop over this guy to go and get the dude in the Charger with the tinted windows, and we all know what he's doing. And then come back down the road past that guy on her way back to irrelevancy. Now she has a couple of kids, trauma, a story to tell, some drama, because she led the wrong guy, or she went to that guy because he didn't need to lead her. He just needed someone by his side that was equally, I guess, aesthetically pleasing, so that they can both fuck and have a good time. Men like that aren't leaders. They're distractions. I'll say that again. Men like that aren't leaders. They're distractions. And they distract so many women out here. And it's this fucking circle jerk. It's a vicious cycle. I swear to God it is. It is. I'm not even sure if it could be fixed at this point. I'm just discussing it to bring some voice to what we all know is happening. And I can't believe that no one is saying this. Or maybe we're saying it and we don't care. Maybe that's the thing. At the end of the day, what's the goal? Right? If you are of dating age and you are single, male or female, what's the goal? You want to be happy, right? You want to be with someone that makes you happy. Do you remember how that first person who you fell in love with gave you those butterflies and shit? And like you couldn't believe this was happening? Everyone wants that feeling. That's the ideal feeling you want to have. Okay. So let's acknowledge that there's some things that need to be addressed. And there's some things that we have to be able to have the conversations about. We have to be realistic about this shit. We have to be. I can't sit here and say I'm perfect. I'm definitely not perfect. Far from it. I don't really care to be perfect. I like to be weird and flawed. That's my whole thing. I wouldn't even be doing this if I wasn't a little weird and flawed. I would have no stories to tell if I was sitting here normal and perfect. Fuck that. Everyone I know is a little weird and flawed. So, no, I'm not sitting here the model of perfection telling someone how to live their lives. No, what I am saying is that communication is the key. It is. If you could tell me, hey, your head's shaped kind of funny. Okay. I should be able to tell you, hey, your titty's kind of long. Stomach kind of fat. I can't change my head. But you can go on the fucking walk and lose some weight. Probably can't change your titties. That's so fucked. That is so genetically unfortunate. Those people with those long tits. Oh, man. I feel so sorry for them. I feel very sorry for them. But once again, it's somewhere out there for everybody. Somebody out there, love the hell out of those long ass titties. He go all the way down to a belly button to grab that titty and lick it. He love it. He love that shit. Not for me though. What I wanted to close off and just to give you, I don't know. This is something that's probably on topic, Probably not. But on the next episode, I'm going to be getting into this a little more heavily. And it's going to be contentious, controversial. It really is. Like the next podcast will probably be my most controversial. But I will end by saying that I feel like, okay, there's a difference between someone creating content because they know that they're trying to make, some sort of shortcut to fame or something, or they're passing time, or they're just making reviews. There's a lot of shit out there like that now, or people are marketing themselves. There's a difference when you have a calling for something, right? I've always felt this way. Always. Even if you go back and listen to some of my AGPC podcasts, I've always felt this way. And, some of my friends will come back and give me the review of, oh, I must hate women. Oh, why am I always talking about how bad women are and all this stuff? It's like, well, okay, let's just sit back and let them talk about us forever. Cool. Or am I not allowed to have an opinion? It's not like what I say is incorrect. Like, even some of my opinions can be backed up with like statistics and data. Even some of my opinions. So I don't hate anyone. I will just say that. I don't hate a single person on this earth. I really don't. But when it comes to the shit that needs to be said, I'm going to say it. And that's all there is to it. And stop trying to fucking shame me into making my wall blurry. All right? I like my fucking wall. Go fuck yourself. Bye.